Okay, I'm going to give you the lowdown for this assignment. So we had talked, or I had talked in the second lecture about sociocultures, and I'd given you some examples like deaf culture and LGBTQ culture, and there's just all sorts of different social cultures, right? And there's a quick definition there for you. It's a term related to social and cultural factors. So, common traditions, habits, patterns, and beliefs present in a certain group of people. So you might have one of those already. You could have one just due to your religion or your ethnicity or your race or I don't know, your interest. So there's all sorts of social cultures, right? So I'm wanting you to come up with one of your own. You don't have to invent one. You can just find one, or you can use something from your family or your own culture. So um, that is the assignment. And so you can see listed below here says name and define the social culture, list at least three specific traits of this social culture, present at least three artifacts of this culture via photos, gifts, whatever you want to use there, and explain why this social culture is valid. Okay, so I'm going to just give you an example of one I put together really quickly because I'm not wanting this to be a huge project for you, but it is double the points, so you can spend a little bit longer, perhaps. This would be a good time to do it. So let's go through the one that I picked. I picked hippie because, I kind of had a little taste of that in my younger years. So I picked my social culture to be hippie, the hippie culture. Because look, there's a picture of me when I was about, oh gosh, I don't know, in my early 20s. Okay, so then you're supposed to define your social culture, right? So I just found this. I just dug around and found it, on the internet. And that's defining what my culture is or was, that culture I picked, right? Kind of just give a little brief kind of paragraph on that. And then here's my three traits for the hippie culture. Just came up with them because it was easy enough to do. Question authority, nonviolent, experimental. And then I have my three artifacts for the hippie culture, really easy to find. And so I took photos or got them off of the internet. So here's artifact number one, my peace sign that I always wear around my neck because I'm from the hippie culture. And artifact number two is that was the time when people were wearing really great patched up jeans. So I just got this off of the internet, and those are really fun. And it reminded me of one of my favorite albums. I don't know when that was, but way back. Geez, I don't know. Like somewhere in the middle 70s or something. Neil Young album that was after the gold rush. And the big cool thing about it, it was like that's when you really had vinyl, and so you had great pictures on the covers of these vinyl albums, and there was these photos of his jeans, and we just all like were just admiring them so much. So I remember this one specifically because Neil Young after the gold rush because it was the only cassette. I had a cassette in my car, and it was the only one that I had because I had a couple more and they're all broken. And this was my car, a beat up version of it looked pretty much like this, but a little bit beat up. And so I had that one cassette tape, and I had to drive from Sacramento to Toledo, and that's how many hours it was. And it was more than 33 hours, but there's the miles because, Volkswagen vans go really slowly. And did I ever get to know and love and hate that tape? But I still love Neil Young. And so here's my third artifact. Speaking of albums, was the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and so that is one that I think really reflected kind of that psychedelic hippie social culture that I picked as an example. Just want to have you hear a little bit of Jimi Hendrix. But he's chewing gum and playing the guitar.
Excuse me while I kiss a
Okay, can't get it off. Oh, good. Okay. So, and now the validity of my hippie culture that I picked. I just again went to the internet and found this. And I thought it was a pretty good explanation as to why this socioculture was valid, right? Because it influenced a lot of the music and it really had a stronghold in American pulp culture at the time. So, pop culture at the time. So there's my examples of um, socioculture. So to sum it up again, you're gonna pick a socioculture or create one. I don't know. You figure that part out, and you're gonna define it. So a quick definition of it. You don't have to make it up. You can find that. You're gonna find 3 traits about that. Remember, mine was nonviolence and question authority and I can't remember the other one, peace and love or something. And you're going to find 3 artifacts. So 3 things that come from that culture. I did my peace sign necklace and jeans and the Jimi Hendrix Experience album, one of my bestest, favoriteest albums. I think it was about 16 when I got it. Yeah, it was so cool. Okay. And then you were going to say why that culture is valid, and it doesn't have to be this big, huge thing that everyone knows about, right? But you're just going to consider that. So the deal is, you're going to upload all of this into the assignment activity. What activity? I mean, the assignment page, right? And so you can do whatever you want. I put it on a PowerPoint because it just was easier for me to do it that way. Because I do want you to show your 3 artifacts. I mean, you don't have to go beyond that unless you want to. But you need to show your 3 artifacts. So we're going to have to see some photos or, whatever's on that. And so that's why I used PowerPoint. But you don't have to. You could, put it on a Word doc and, copy the photos onto that or something and just give some explanation. Just let me know what you're thinking about this socioculture and why you consider it, something of interest to document. Again, there's not really any wrong answers here. Just do a good, thorough job because you're getting 40 points to wow me, okay? And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, thanks. Purple Haze. See ya.